Okay, so I wanted to go over this one, the very last part, just a little bit more. Notice how we've got a negative in front of our equation, basically. This is our equation, and we've got a negative in front of that. So that's going to flip the entire graph of y equals 2 sine of 3x across the x-axis. Now, if you look at the just sine of x, notice how it starts here and it goes up and then down. Whereas our graph of negative 2 sine of 3x, it starts here and it goes down and then up. That's what the negative in front of our equation is going to do. It's a reflection across the x-axis. Okay, now our last one here. And we've got amplitude, we've got a phase shift, we've got period change, and we also got a vertical displacement. So first things first, we're going to take whatever's in the parentheses and put that between 0 and 2 pi. So that's going to be 4x plus pi between 0 and 2 pi. Okay, so then I'm going to solve for x, so that means I'm going to subtract each one of these by pi first. So I'll get negative pi over here, 4x, and pi over here. Then I can divide by 4, which is the same thing as multiplying by 1/4. So I'll do that to each one of these. So I'll get negative pi over 4x and pi over 4. Okay, then I set up my t-table. And remember, we're always going to have our angles between 0 and 2 pi. So 0 pi over 2 pi, 3 pi over 2, and 2 pi going around that unit circle. And since y is sine, it starts at 0, and then 1, and then 0, and then negative 1, and then 0. So whatever we have done to these x's right here, we'll do to each one of these x's as well. So I'm going to first subtract pi from all of these. So I'll get negative pi, and I will get, so that's a half minus 1 is a negative 1/2. So this is going to be negative pi over 2. And if you need to see that, we can do this over here. Pi over 2 minus 1 pi. So I'm going to, that's over 1. I'm going to multiply it 2 over 2 to get the same denominators. Pi over 2 minus 2 pi over 2. Okay, cool. I have the same denominator. They're both 2. So this is pi minus 2 pi all over 2. Okay, well, pi minus 2 pi is negative pi over 2. Pi minus pi, that's just going to be 0. The 3 pi over 2 minus pi, that's like 1/2 minus 1, so that just gives us a half, but we can do the same thing. 3 pi over 2 minus pi, and I'm going to go ahead and change this to pi, 2 pi over 2, which is what I did up here. Okay, so this would be 3 pi minus 2 pi over 2, which, hey, that will give me pi over 2, or basically a half of pi. And then 2 pi minus pi, that will just give me pi. And then, the next thing I did was multiply times 1/4, so I'll do the same thing for each one of these. Multiply by 1/4. I'm running out of room. Let me do this. 1/4, 1/4, 1/4 times 1/4. Okay, so negative pi times 1/4 is negative pi over 4. Let's see, negative pi over 2 times 1/4. Well, that's going to be a negative pi over 2 times 4 is 8. 0 times 1/4, that's just going to be 0. Pi over 2 times 1/4, that's going to be pi over 2 times 4 is 8. And then pi times 1/4, hey, that's just going to be pi over 4. Notice my beginning is the same here, and my end is the same here. Okay, so now we have two things affecting our y values. We've got amplitude and we've got, vertical shift. Okay. Now amplitude, you're going to multiply each of your y values by your amplitude, but you're going to add or subtract your vertical shift. So which one do you do first? Do you add or do you multiply first? Well, go back to PEMDAS. Please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. Let me fix that E. That drives me nuts. Okay, so what comes first, multiplication or addition? Well, multiplication first and then addition. So first I'm going to multiply each one of these by 2. So 0, 2, 0, -2, and 0. And then I'm going to subtract 1 from each of these. So that's going to be -1. 2 minus 1 is just 1. 0 minus 1 is -1. -2 minus 1 is -3. And 0 minus 1 is -1. Okay, then I'll plot the points 0, -1. So 0, -1 right here. Nope, I'm sorry. That was not my end. My end is over here. Threw me off. Negative pi over 4, -1. That's the first point I'm going to plot. So there it is right there. Negative pi over 8, 1, right here. And then mark through it just a little bit. 0, -1. There it is. Pi over 8, -3, right here. And then pi over 4, -1. Now this is sine, so it should be making this little shape right here. That is one fundamental cycle. Okay? Now if this, if this right here is just sine of x before we transform it, well, what we did was, number 1, our b was greater than 1. It was 4. So that means we have horizontal compression, so it's pushing in on your x-axis. So you have a lot more energy right here. Whereas instead of being drawn out, okay, that would be horizontal stretch. We also have a is greater than 1, so we have vertical stretch. Okay, so if I hadn't shifted down, if I start here, it would go up more and down more. That's vertical stretch, which is what we're seeing here. Vertical compression would be underneath it. C is, let's see, negative pi over 4, which actually this is C over B. This right here that should be over B. That's our phase shift, because they take the pi and change the sign since it's positive right here to negative and then divide by 4. So that's C over B, or our phase shift. Since it is negative right here, or because it is positive over here, either way, we're going to be shift to the left. And then finally, because D is less than 1, it's actually -1 here, we had a vertical shift down. Notice how we were right here, but then we got scooted down right here for our -2 sine of 4x plus pi minus 1 equation. And that's it.